U.S. President Donald Trump insisted there was absolutely no collusion between his election campaign and Russia in comments to media on Saturday. "What has been shown is no collusion, no collusion," Trump told reporters as he departed the White House for fundraising events in New York. "There's been absolutely no collusion, so we're very happy." His comments came after his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, pleaded guilty in court on Friday to lying to the FBI about his contacts with the Russian ambassador to the U.S. before Trump took power. Investigators also revealed that Flynn was now cooperating with authorities and that he was prepared to testify that he was directed by a very senior transition official to make contact with Russia. Read more. Michael Flynn to testify. Trump's team directed him to contact Russia June 18, 2013. Donald Trump tweeted the Miss Universe pageant will be broadcast live from Moscow, Russia on November 9. "A big deal that will bring our countries together," he later added. "Do you think Putin will be going? If so, will he become my new best friend?" October 17, 2013, Trump tells chat show host David Letterman he has conducted a lot of business with the Russians. An FBI agent told a tech support contractor at the Democratic National Committee it may have been Ed. On May 18, 2016, James Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, said there were some indications of cyber attacks aimed at the presidential campaigns. On June 14, 2016, the DNC announced it had been the victim of an attack by Russianers. Senator Jeff Sessions, an early Trump endorser who led his National Security Advisory Committee, met Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak and a group of other ambassadors at a Republican National Convention event. Julian Assange's WikiLeaks published 20,000 emails stolen from the DNC, appearing to show a preference for Hillary Clinton over Senator Bernie Sanders. The FBI announced it was investigating the DNC, saying a compromise of this nature is something we take very seriously. Donald Trump is elected President of the United States. On November 9, the Russian parliament burst into applause at the news. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybakov said there were contacts between the Russian government and the Trump campaign during the election campaign. The Trump campaign issued a firm denial. Trump named General Michael Flynn as his national security advisor. The former Defense Intelligence Agency chief was a top foreign policy advisor in Trump's campaign. Flynn resigned in February after failing to disclose details of his communication with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Acting Attorney General Sally Yates told White House counsel Don McGahn that Flynn made false statements regarding his calls with Kislyak. On January 30, Trump fired Yates for refusing to enforce his travel ban, which was later blocked by federal courts. Trump said he had total confidence in Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Sessions announced he would recuse himself from any investigation into ties between Russia and the Trump campaign. FBI Director James Comey confirmed before the House Select Committee on Intelligence that the FBI was investigating possible links between Russia and the Trump campaign. In a letter announcing the termination, Trump wrote, "While I greatly appreciate you informing me, on 3 separate occasions, that I am not under investigation, I nevertheless concur with the judgment of the Department of Justice that you are not able to effectively lead the Bureau." Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appointed former FBI Director Robert Mueller to look into Russia's interference in the 2016 election and possible collusion with the Trump campaign. Shortly after Mueller convenes a grand jury for the investigation, the FBI seizes documents from one of Paul Manafort's properties as part of a raid for Mueller's probe. The former Trump campaigner manager stepped down in August 2016 after allegations surfaced that he had received large payments linked to Ukraine's former pro-Russian government. Donald Trump Jr. tells the Senate Judiciary Committee he has not colluded with a foreign government. The closed-door interview relates to his June 2016 meeting with Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya, which was also attended by his brother-in-law, Jared Kushner, and then-campaign manager Paul Manafort. Trump Jr.'s emails, however, suggest the meeting was supposed to produce dirt on Clinton. Facebook, Twitter and Google reportedly tell U.S. media they have evidence that Russian operatives exploited platforms to spread disinformation during the 2016 U.S. presidential election. The 3 companies are expected to appear before a Senate Intelligence Committee in November. Author Joe Harper, Kathleen Schuster. Many major U.S. outlets reported that the figure allegedly directing Flynn was likely to be Trump's son-in-law and White House advisor, Jared Kushner. Flynn's contact with Russia undermined Obama administration foreign policy at the time. Later on Saturday, Trump posted on Twitter, saying Flynn's conversations with the Russian ambassador were entirely legal and that there was nothing to hide, but the post presented a different timeline of events to what the White House had earlier indicated. Problematic timeline. Trump's Friday tweet implied he knew that Flynn had lied to the FBI, a criminal act, and that this had contributed to his firing, but this was never listed as a reason for his dismissal. Flynn was forced to resign in February after just 3 weeks for supposedly misleading Trump staff about his communication with former Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. On Friday, investigators made clear that Flynn had kept his superiors abreast of his conversations, which took place after the election. If Trump knew that Flynn had lied to the FBI before he was asked to resign, as Trump implied on Twitter, then he would have known about Flynn's crime even as he reportedly pressed then FBI Chief James Comey to drop his inquiry into Flynn. Trump fired Comey soon after that reported conversation. Read more analysis. Despite Flynn's guilty plea, Trump presidency not over yet. Flynn was Trump's national security advisor. Inner Circle. Flynn was the first member of Trump's administration to plead guilty to a crime since special counsel Robert Mueller began investigating Russian attempts to influence the 2016 U.S. presidential election and possible collusion by Trump aides. Immediately after Flynn's guilty plea, White House lawyer Ty Cobb insisted Flynn had only implicated himself. Nothing about the guilty plea or the charge implicates anyone other than Mr. Flynn, he said. But Flynn's compliance grants Mueller access to someone who was one of Trump's closest advisors during the campaign transition in the early days of the administration, a WNG Reuters, AP, AFP, DPA.